They say civilization began 6,000 years ago, but what if that's only the story we were allowed to hear? The first people didn't just believe in gods, they met them. They called their home Nibiru, a world beyond sight, a planet that returns once every few thousand years to remind us where we truly came from. In 1976, author Zecharia Sitchin claimed he decoded the oldest tablets ever found. The Sumerians, he said, weren't speaking in myths. They were describing real visitors from another world. A 12th planet hidden beyond Neptune, orbiting so far that it only returns once every 3,600 years. And when it does, everything changes. The stories tell of gods who came to Earth not for worship, but for resources. Their world was dying, its atmosphere broken. To repair it, they needed gold, and to mine it, they created a new species, a mix of their own blood and the dust of the earth. That creation was humanity. Every ancient culture whispers the same secret, beings from the heavens who shaped mankind. From Egypt's gods descending in flame to India's divine architects to the Mayan star teachers, the story never dies. It only changes names. Maybe they weren't myths after all. Maybe they were memories written before language had rules. Scientists laughed at Sitchin. They called his translations fantasy, his logic broken. But his book spread across the world anyway. Because deep down, people felt something. An echo in their bones, a truth too old to be written. What if humanity isn't the beginning of the story, but the result of someone else's plan? In Sumerian, Nibiru doesn't just mean planet. It means the crossing, a bridge between worlds, the point where heaven touches earth. Was it a place or a doorway? Maybe Nibiru isn't just another planet. Maybe it's the space between where gods descend and humanity remembers what it lost long ago. In the ancient Enuma Elish, Marduk slays the cosmic serpent Tiamat, splitting her in two, one half becoming the earth, the other forming the heavens. To scholars, it's myth, but to Sitchin, it's memory, a celestial collision between planets that shaped our world. Creation not by miracle, but by cosmic violence. Science says we came from evolution, randomness, and time. Yet somehow every civilization carries the same dream, a great flood, a fiery sky, a return of the gods. Are these coincidences or warnings? Maybe the human story isn't linear, maybe it's cyclical. Maybe the past is preparing to return. Sitchin warned that one day Nibiru would return, and when it does, the world will tremble. Floods will rise, fire will fall, and the forgotten gods will walk among us again. To some, it's superstition. To others, it's destiny, a countdown written not in stone, but in the stars themselves. Modern scientists now whisper about something strange beyond Neptune, an unseen planet twisting orbits, disturbing gravity. They call it Planet X, invisible, massive, and watching. Maybe Nibiru was never a myth. Maybe it was a warning, a shadow in the darkness, waiting for the moment when humanity dares to look up again. Astronomers whisper about something unseen, a hidden mass bending orbits, twisting gravity, pulling at the edges of our solar system. Some say it's a planet, others a black hole no larger than a fruit, but heavier than 10 Earths. Invisible, silent, watching. Could this be Nibiru, returning from the dark? If the governments knew, would they tell us? Or would they bury it? Like they've buried every truth that could shake control. Ancient records sealed, satellites redirected, silence replacing discovery. Sometimes what we're not told is the loudest warning of all. Maybe they fear Nibiru. Not because it's myth, but because it's real. Prophecies across time speak of a star that returns when humanity forgets balance. The Egyptians called it the Eye of Ra. The Bible named it wormwood. The Hopi saw it as the red kachina, a fiery sign of cleansing. Different names, same destroyer. Each time it comes, the world begins again. Hidden in British libraries lies the Colburn Bible, a forbidden text said to predate even the Old Testament. It describes the sky turning red, the ground shaking, and the destroyer burning the heavens. It warns when man grows proud, the star returns. Could this book be the last memory of Nibiru's last visit? Scientists dismiss myths as fantasy, but myths remember what science forgets. Every flood story, every day the sun stood still, may be fragments of a real cosmic trauma. The ancients survived it once and wrote it down. We read their fear as poetry. But what if it was survival advice for us? So why does the story refuse to die? Because Nibiru gives shape to our deepest fear, that we are not the masters of this world. It's the shadow we see in every storm, every disaster, every silence in the night sky. We keep the myth alive because part of us remembers it's true. The Anunnaki story was never about benevolent gods. It was about control. They didn't rule with wisdom, but with knowledge. The power to shape life, to command worship, to erase history. Every empire since has followed their example. Maybe the Anunnaki never left. Maybe they simply changed form and flags. Civilizations rise, discover power, and fall over and over again. Scientists call it the Great Filter, the point where every intelligent species destroys itself. Maybe Nibiru isn't a planet at all, but a mirror, showing us what happens when creation forgets its creator. When humanity becomes its own Anunnaki, and in the quiet between stars, a whisper remains. Maybe Nibiru is already here, not above us, but within us. The destroyer and the creator are one. It doesn't need to arrive in the sky. It awakens in our hands, our machines, our choices. The return has already begun. Nibiru may never appear through a telescope. It doesn't have to. It lives in memory, in every myth, every prophecy, every fear that refuses to fade. The ancient gods may never walk among us again, but the truth they carried still does, because what we call myth might just be history repeating itself.